From unseasonably warm to hot to unseasonably cool, wet, and windy. I think you'll probably agree that that mention of 2015-2020 in terms of the big swings back and forth has had some merit with regards to the summer idea. Thanks for clicking on to the Thursday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. This is how the first 7 days of August has looked in terms of temperature anomaly across Europe, and it has been a fairly cool start across the UK, close to average across Ireland, Northern Ireland, but very cool across central areas of Europe. That is about to change big time as we progress towards the upcoming weekend. A little bit warmer across Iberia. Obviously, we know the heat across parts of Scandinavia, 20 plus days in excess of 30 Celsius, even in one location in Finland, is pretty remarkable stuff. I'm continuing to collate the information regarding Storm Floris and some absolutely breathtaking imagery coming from infrared and visible satellite imagery. We did see this system peak around 976 millibars over Caithness and Orkney back during the afternoon hours of Monday. We've seen wind gusts in excess of 130 miles per hour over Cairngorm Summit. Low-level gusts, obviously we know that 82 miles per hour at Wick was the lowest sea level pressure for Scotland since 1992, I believe. And there may have been the development of a sting jet. We did have this fracture of the cold front, this warm intrusion wrapping around the center of the circulation here. Quite a rare Shapiro-Kaiser type cyclone that only happens more often than not during the autumn and the winter months. Quite rare to see this taking place during the summertime. And there may have also been the development of a sting jet, which is a transfer of particularly strong winds within the mid levels of the atmosphere down to the low levels that can generate 80, 90 mile per hour gusts. But that 133 mile per hour gust at Cairngorm really stands out indeed, and really exceptional stuff, really breathtaking imagery, and yes, this has just been a quite remarkable summer overall. At its peak, the pressure, like I say, dropped to 976 millibars. Over 53,000 properties across mainly Scotland lost power. Even here at the house, over 24 hours without power. There is places that remain without power some days after the event, and I believe there has been some particularly remote areas to the north of here with significant wind damage causing obviously the power lines and poles to come down. Lots of trees blown over as well, and yes, some very significant disruption to road, rail, ferry and air travel as well. So yep, it was certainly a notable event. I know that there's some people out there that will probably say the Fastnet system of years ago was worse, and yes, there was probably worse storms in August in years gone by. The sixth named system since naming began by the Met Office back in 2015 for the month of August. So August storms, nothing particularly unusual. In fact, actually reasonably common when you think about it. 6 names in 10 years. Yes, granted, there was, I think, 2 Augusts where we had 2 named storms. Lillian, for example, late last August developed, but this was a record breaker. Many stations across the north of Scotland recorded its strongest wind gust for August. Northern Ireland, obviously, Orlock Head recording 66. I think 4 other Augusts recorded the same wind gust. It is still windy out there. This is another area of low pressure passing, thankfully, to the north of the mainland here, generating some gusty winds. Even here and points west and north, we've seen a gusty wind. You can see a nice little hook, a nice little curl associated with that, mid 980 millibar area of low pressure. Gusty westerly winds. We've got a frontal system associated with that, covering the central swathe of England as well as Wales as well. Warmer temperatures ahead of that, so this circulation spinning to the north. We've got pressure building to the south of that, so warmth is becoming re-established over Spain, Portugal, into France. That is going to be a sign of things to come here as we go through the coming days. This is the current mediocele pressure at sea level. We've got 984 millibars associated with that centre of circulation. We've got other areas of low pressure to the north of that. So we've actually got 3 areas of low pressure. In fact, it's possibly 4 associated with this trough to the north of the UK. All the while we've got some fairly strong pressure further south. In terms of the current temperatures, this is how things are looking. Then you can see that we've got some fresher air. We've got some warmth. Westerly winds. We've got a little bit of slight Föhn effect as the winds blow over the mountains here. Cairngorm and Grampian, we're seeing temperatures into the 20s in the east of the country. Different story in the west. But there's the warmth building. We've got temperatures approaching 40, probably exceeding 40 in a couple of spots across central portions of Spain, mid-30s across the south of France, and even across the southeast, we're talking about mid-20s across the southeast of England this afternoon. Looking at the UK specifically then, we've only got 8 at the Bulick na Ba. Granted, that is some 763 metres above sea level. Old Bay on the coast near sea level is at 16.3, but we've got a 22 Celsius along the Aberdeenshire coast, so a bit of a contrast east and west thanks to those winds blowing out of the Atlantic, and temperatures into the low 20s, upper teens, low 20s across the southeast of Ireland. Again, like Scotland, 14, 15, 16 in the west, an exposure of that wind. Temperatures 25 fairly widely actually across the southeast of the UK through the course of this afternoon, and the temperatures are going to continue to rise as pressure rises over the next few days. Looking at the latest radar imagery then, we've got a few showers blowing in on that westerly flow. There's that frontal system associated with the low to the north near the Furrows. It's bringing and generating some showers, possibly a couple of localised thunder and lightning areas across the central swathe of England, central Wales as well. A bit more mess up across portions of Denmark, Norway, into Sweden as well, as can be seen here. So let's see here what else I can show. I am in the process of writing an article regarding Scotland, from record July heat to record August storm. That should hopefully be available over the next few days or so when I get the information through. But looking at the temperature anomalies then over the next 7 days, we do have heat building. We are likely to see the warmth building even across the north of the British Isles as we progress through the next few days. But heat wave threshold may be reached again across the far south and east of England. And we do have models suggesting some pretty significant warmth actually by the time we reach Monday next week. 33, maybe even a 34 is possible across the southeast. So the warmth is rebuilding. We are likely to see temperatures approaching the 40-degree mark, and even across central north portions of France, into parts of central Germany, northern portions of Iberia as well. This is the CFSV2 for the next 7 days, showing a cooler than average Scotland, warmer than average England and Wales, and very warm compared to average here across the western and central portions of the continent. Skipping on then to the day 8 through 14, you can see here that the warmer than average temperatures reach all over the UK and Ireland and across the majority of the continent. The reasons for that is that we are going to see the remnants of Tropical Storm Dexter moving towards Western Europe. That is likely to build the pressure. And this is, again, something that has been reiterated time and time again. The month of August, the tropics will become more involved. They can deepen areas of low pressure, bringing stormy weather, similar to what we've seen back during the course of Monday. Obviously, that wasn't associated with a tropical feature, more a gradient of cold versus warm, stronger than average jet stream, and then the system crossing from warm to cold side of the jet developed the conditions for an extreme wind event for the month of August. Interesting the fact that we got that from a non-tropical system. That's actually something quite interesting to think about as well. Usually you get these unusually deep lows that have some form of tropical origin. This didn't really have that as such. Yes, it came from a warmer source region, but it wasn't the remnants of a tropical system. But if you look at the upper heights for week 1, you've got the deep negative over Iceland, the strong ridge over central areas of Europe here. But when you move from week 1 into week 2 off the CFSV2, you can see here that the pressure builds further north over the UK as well as Ireland. If we look at the precipitation, week 1, it is drier than average with the exceptions of the Western Isles, for example, West Highlands, but firmly drier than average across the board. Europe, firmly drier than average. Then into week 2, you can see here, drier than average. Let's then move on to weathercharts.com and have a quick look at the models regarding the warmth then, and then we'll finish off hopefully with the UK Met model. So you can see here off the GFS, there's that area of low pressure then scooting on up into the Norwegian Sea. Left behind is a legacy of showery, unstable westerly flow. You can see here this low pressure centre trough to the north of the British Isles here. Always warmer, drier, less windy the further south you go over the British Isles. Then another frontal system moves into the west. That could have some fairly heavy rainfall, possibly embedded thunderstorms associated with that. 984 millibars. So these lows are fairly deep for the time of the year. But again, the weaken as the move, if not completely dissipate, as the move into higher pressure further south and east. But you notice here, as we move through the weekend, there's that ridge of high pressure lifting north, building thanks to the presence of Dexter moving towards the UK and Ireland. Remains to be seen exactly how much influence directly this will have. I think it's going to just boost the pressure and raise the temperature as a consequence. We've got another feature running over the top, may bring some unsettled weather associated frontal system across in the north of the UK. But you notice here, by the time we reach the early portions of next week, the GFS sees higher pressure building. Let's put on the 850s, and you can see here that we've got warmer air trying to lift north. Skip back to the here and now. Fresh air currently moving from west to east associated with that low pressure. Very hot conditions building, bubbling away to the south of the British Isles. All it will take is the approach of Dexter to lift that warmth northwards, and you can see that as the case as we progress into the early portions of next week. And we could even reach heat wave thresholds even across parts of Scotland through next week if this model proves correct. So we shall wait and see. Let's have a look at the ECMWF overview chart first and foremost. You can see here again those areas of low pressure running over the top of the high across the north of the UK. And then as we move into the weekend, here comes the remnants of Dexter. Heights build, warmth builds north as the system then kind of pushes that heat and high north over the UK and Ireland here. Always more unsettled, if you notice here, according to the ECM, across the far north and west of the UK here. But if we put on the 850s, let's see what that model is indicating here. And you can see that the warmth is trying to lift northwards here. Again, a bit of a question mark over the north of the UK, but generally the south, you've got at least 15 Celsius at 850. Draw that temperature from that level, 5,000 feet down to the surface. That would likely correlate with sunshine and wind. We're likely to see temperatures 33, 34 Celsius, very possible. Let's move on finally to the UK Met model here and see what it's portraying over the next few days. And UK Met temperatures. I'll try and not cut out the far south. A couple of people rightly saying that the far south of England has been cut out in the video, so I do apologise for that. So let's see here. As we progress through the course of today, as expected, temperatures perhaps even slightly warmer than what was expected here, especially across more southern parts of England. But the model here, UK Met model, showing 22, 23. Yeah, we've got a 25, perhaps over parts of, what would that be, Yorkshire. But more widespread 25s. Let's move on to Friday. You can see here temperatures widely 25, 26, 27 Celsius. during the course of tomorrow. Moving on then to Saturday, and the warmth continues to build as expected. 27, possibly a 28 over parts of the southeast, north of London, over East Anglia, Cambridgeshire, for example. Then as we move into the day on Sunday, the model is indicating that we've got, again, 26, 27, 28 Celsius. And then showing Monday, we do have quite a widespread area of 30 plus Celsius. And I don't think it's going to show me Tuesday, unfortunately. But this could be the day that we get the return of 30-degree weather across the south of the British Isles. Look at Scotland. Generally only, 14, 15, 16, 17 Celsius West Highland. Low 20s eastern portions of Scotland. Would not be surprised, though, if some of that heat transfers north. All depends on the front that develops in association with Dexter. Looking at the NHC then, you can see here this is the current situation. We've got Dexter over the open North Atlantic. Still sustained winds of 50 mile per hour, pressure at 998 millibars, moving in an east-northeast direction. Fairly good clip at 18 miles per hour. We've got a feature of 30% development chances off the east coast of the United States, moving in a northeasterly direction as well. And then we also, this feature here could also affect our pattern further down the road, and then there's a 60% chance over the main development region of a system developing. But the tropics now becoming more influential in our pattern. That this is all very much playing out as expected, and I think that, like I say, that 15-20 summer is definitely kind of showing its hand with the big swings between heat and unseasonably wet and windy conditions. We're going back to heat wave conditions, at least for the south of the UK. Perhaps the north, there's a small chance that we may see something warmer building further north, but it really all depends on what takes place over the Atlantic basin. Hope you're enjoying the content here on this channel. Like and subscribe. Cost you not a single penny. And try to look at the big broad picture. We'll look at the MJO and whatnot over the next couple of days as well, with regards to it and the end game, the summer 2025. Hard to believe we're near the end of summer already. The nights are drawing in, but it doesn't mean that it's getting cold by any stretch. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Bye for now.